Pete, we're live.
We're back.
Woo!
It's been a minute.
It has been a minute.
Been a while,
so
man.
we did episode 1. That was amazing. And then do we even talk about episode 2, bro?
We don't talk about episode
No,
2. It's in the vaults.
It's in the vaults.
It's in the vaults.
Episode 2 is in the vaults. It's in the vaults. For all the right reasons, I think.
Yeah.
Because
we've got a good one for you today, and we've got a good one for you.
I think we call this episode 2.
Yeah.
This is a big one.
This is the one.
This is the one. Dude, I can't stress to you how happy I am to be where we are today.
This is like your home territory, innit? Doesn't get better than this for you.
Mate, this is it.
This is the moment.
This is it. I'm looking behind me. I'm thinking.
There's a reason why that's behind me. I don't want to look at it right now. Yeah.
Mate, I would rather be here than the flipping Emirates, mate.
Yeah, move on.
I mean, to be fair, your training ground's meant to be quite nice, isn't it?
I've never been in it, but it looks alright on YouTube.
I mean, Arsene always made sure like it was looking.
Yeah.
It was looking tough.
The grass was always cut.
Grass is always cut. Exactly.
Yeah, man. But how have you been? How have you been, Al?
Bro, I've been good. Yeah, things have been well. Just trying to make sure this show reaches the levels that it should be doing.
100%, man.
And look, here we are today. We've got an amazing guest on the show coming on.
We'll get into that one.
We're gonna get into that one.
Been cooking for you guys, and
dude, I don't think we should wait around it any longer. I think
just go for it.
I think we should go for it.
Let's go for it.
So guys, welcome to the Bevs with Ballers podcast, the #1 sports podcast in the world. We are changing the podcast game one podcast at a time, bringing some of the most famous athletes in the sports world, past and present, to your very ears. If you've ever dreamed of having a beer with your club's notorious number 9, the kit man, or even the people behind the scenes making those mega deals, this is your new home. So sit down, relax, wherever you are, at work, in the gym, or at home, grab a beverage, whatever it is, and enjoy the show.
Yes.
Pete, how you doing?
I'm
excited.
Man. I'm buzzing.
I'm really excited. I
feel like this is you should just intro it, man.
I think it's time.
It's time, man.
I think it's time.
Go on.
So let's introduce the very first guest in Bevs with Ballers history on the show. This guest is no stranger to winning, most notably as a player scoring the final goal that sealed Chelsea the FA Cup in 1997, but also as an assistant manager helping lead the charge to achieve the most prized possession in football, the Champions League. He now leads this charge as assistant manager once again, working with Chelsea legend Frank Lampard to hopefully achieve the same heights of success. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, I give you Eddie Newton.
Yes.
Eddie.
How
Thank you, gentlemen. Very nice intro.
What's it like hearing that intro with all those accolades?
It's nice. You work hard all your life and to get the achievements, that's what you're working hard for. And then when you hear it's in your daily life. So for us, it's not ordinary, don't get me wrong, but you just go on to the next one all the time. And then every so often when people start reading out your accolades, they go, oh yeah,
man,
oh yeah, it's okay that.
Yeah. I mean, you're an FA Cup winner.
Yep.
Like that's not normal. There's not like kids dream of that.
Yeah,
being an FA Cup winner, and obviously you scored that winning goal in the final to seal that.
Yeah.
What was that moment like when that ball went back in the net?
It was a great moment for me because in '94, when we first got to the cup final, we lost to Man United, gave away a penalty. So I remember speaking to Frank Sinclair at the time. We grew up together at Chelsea, and saying that can't leave it like this. Yeah. First, you can't leave it like this, and fortunately, I was able to get back and change it around and get the winning goal. So it was great.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the way teams celebrate finals nowadays, how different is it to how you guys used to celebrate?
I think we broke every record on that day.
Really?
Yeah. The longest celebration on the pitch.
Wow.
There were so many records that we broke that day for after the celebration.
Oh my!
So the after party, innit?
They were the real Bevs of ballers, man. They were the real Bevs
I
of
think we
ballers.
broke everyone. So we had a great squad and a great unity as well. And you know, we worked hard to get there, and so we wanted to celebrate, and it showed the kind of spirit within the dressing room, the way we celebrate, and the connection with the fans as well.
Yeah.
You know?
Who was? I mean, were there any like weird superstitions like that some of your teammates had, like before going into that final, like in the dressing room?
Dirty socks and them ones there.
I know John Terry is like used to be
super. Yeah, he's ridiculous. But I think Gianfranco, not Zola, Vialli.
Yeah.
Vialli had a few. I don't really know too many. No, I think either someone was going in the toilet and getting sick or something like that.
Yeah.
Nothing out of the ordinary.
How much you drink? How much you drink in that after that final?
I don't know, to be honest with you.
Yeah, that's the politically correct thing to say.
That was over 20 years ago.
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
it is a while back.
Damn.
What was before you scored though? Like, what was going through your head? Because obviously it's a final. It's Wembley as well. So like, do you panic in that moment? Is it different to a normal game?
No, to be honest with you, I don't know if you know when people say in a car crash, everything slows down.
Yeah,
it's exactly the same.
Yeah,
your everything's heightened.
Okay.
Everything's heightened, so it just seems everything slows down around you.
Yeah.
I think that's the only way I can describe it, you know. And at the time it was 1-0 up, and it was late stages of the game, and it was more about keeping the ball and keep it away from the opposition. But the build-up got so good that I just went with it, and luckily I did, because I ended up on the end of it when Gianfranco.
Yeah, it was a follow-up.
Yeah. So it's just one of those things.
Yeah. And is it true that after the game you had an injury?
I had an injury before, in the media, and after.
You played injured?
Yeah.
Wow.
That's why I had to retire at 28. I had no cartilage. I had about 10%, 15% left of my cartilage. So after the final, my knee blew up massively. We had to fly to, was it Hong Kong? I think we flew to Hong Kong because we had to do an after-season tour. I just looked at Rudolph and just said, I ain't playing in no games. And he said, I don't know. And then he said, listen, you're going to have to go to the doctor that sorted my knee out. He said, go to him, Dr. Martins in Belgium. Mm-hmm. And he just said to me, I'm going to save your knee so you can have a normal life. And that's a big thing to hear as a professional athlete.
So what was that like mentally coping with that? Obviously you've just come off that massive high of winning the FA Cup, and now you've been told that you have to retire.
Well, he didn't tell me I had to retire. Well, he did in so many words, but being a professional athlete, you're stubborn to the core, so you think you can overcome anything. So I've overcome a few injuries, broken legs, so on and so forth, and this was the third time I was having an operation, so I was thinking I'll get over it, because I usually do. I've done it before, and but slowly, this following season, you realise you can't jump as high, you can't turn as quick, you can't do the things that you used to do. Yeah. So slowly it starts sinking in that maybe he's right. And when the doctor tells you that I'm going to save your knee so you can have a normal life, so you don't end up doing in a wheelchair or something like that, then you know it's time, because then you have to think that there's more to life than just football.
Yeah.
How did you cope with that?
Tough. For a year, 2, struggled. You hear a lot of people talking about depression in football and coping with all of that, and this is what people don't see behind the scenes, is that when you retire or you're not playing, or things are not going so well, you're always keeping up appearances in football, because you're always in front of the limelight, you're in front of people, so you're always keeping up appearances. But behind closed doors, a lot of people will be struggling with their situations, or maybe
different
life
story.
at home is not great. You know, all these kind of things. So that's why it's hard. And I had a great support from my family, and who all got around me. Good friends as well got around me, and then picked myself up. And
Here you are now.
You are now, yeah.
Exactly.
Wow, and what a career you've had as well from that moment.
I was talking to Alex about injuries a couple of days ago, and my mate from uni, he's trying to get into football now. He suffered an ACL injury, and like you said, I didn't realize how deep his mental was affected by it. Like he's saying he's having sleepless nights and everything. So when you had your first injury, how was your thought process then? Did you think, oh, this might not be it? Because you mentioned the leg break.
Yeah. With injuries with me, I think I'm quite strong mentally. Okay. So, you know, I've had eyes split, arms ripped, legs broken, everything. But because you're always coming back from them, you just feel that you're Superman. You're going to come back again. You know, 6 months, 7 months, whatever it is, or 3 months, or 2 weeks, whatever it is, and you think you're going to come back from it. But this one was a little bit too far. And, you know, when you got a whole load coming, or your whole body weight coming through, and sometimes double your weight coming through one leg, when you're planting your leg down to hit a shot, it's double your weight coming through the knee. Yeah. And if you haven't got no cartilage stopping the bone hitting each other, it's like an electric shock going right through your body every time you plant your foot. So you can imagine the pain.
Yeah, man.
I do just want to touch back on the mental health aspect of coping with an injury, because obviously there's a massive stigma around mental health nowadays, and people speaking about it, and I think it's very hard for men to come out and excuse me and talk about it. Back in the 90s, I'm guessing it wasn't easy.
It was even harder. Today, because of all the social media, it's getting less and less of a problem to step out and talk about it. Back in my day and before, when I was younger, and I was seeing the men in then days, you just don't say them kind of things. It's impossible to say that in the dressing room. You just don't say those things in the dressing room. Otherwise, you're just opening yourself up to getting absolutely battered. So you just didn't do it, and the environment wasn't cohesive to do it. So, but now it's getting a little bit more, and you know, all the different bodies are trying to push it, you know, the agenda and educate people. So therefore, it's a lot easier for people to come out and talk about it.
Yeah, definitely. I think what's the support system like today for these players coming through the ranks right now, if they do have some mental health issues that they need to address?
The support system's massive now in every factor of their career, whether it's education, whether it's lifestyle, whether it's learning how to pay their bills and everything. You know, it's little simple things like that. Footballers not really good at them things, because all they do is play football. They're good at earning the money, but not so good at keeping it and spending it and being wise with it and all that. And so there's a lot of structure around it, because a lot of players were ending up with all the money that they were earning, they're ending up with nothing. So, you know, I think all the bodies, clubs, everyone wised up very well, and you know, put support systems around them, educate the players, and like now, so you see young players, they invest in their money wisely. They're looking after their families. They're not spending it on this car, that car, and this or whatever. So it's the new generation's a lot wiser.
And it's good because the amount of money that's in football now as well, the size of their contracts, like, if they were just splashing out on everything and anything, you know what I'm saying, they can go down the wrong road.
You're going mad with the money now. You know, it was bad enough in my day, but back now, you just go crazy. You just go crazy.
And with social media, I'm sure that slightly affects younger players now with their mental health.
No, I suppose it's different. It's a different platform, isn't it? You know, I think back in the day, everything was behind closed doors, so that could be a different way of doing it. And you don't.
Now you can talk about it.
But now it's out there. I think less of that stuff will happen, because you won't be able to get out of it, because you got the different forums, you got different social media platforms where where it will just come out. So therefore, really pulls it back to a minimum, shall we say?
I feel like Sterling has come out and used social media in such a positive way. With all the
racism that's been
he's been subject to.
Yeah, I thought the way he dealt with it was outstanding. Yeah, because it's very easy for a black player to come out and say something, and everyone says he's got a chip on his shoulder.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
it's very easy for that to happen. But the way he done it, everyone applauded the way he spoke very maturely about the whole thing, and the way the media portray a black player compared to a white player, and so on and so forth. And that's how you're educating the rest of society, and it's your responsibility to educate the society responsibly.
Exactly.
So they act responsibly.
Exactly.
Couldn't have put it better myself. It was fantastic.
Yeah. He's almost become like a figurehead, hasn't he? Now,
exactly.
The movement.
How was it for you though, being a black player, 80s, 90s? How did you? Was racism hard? It was hard. Explain to someone. Imagine being 16 years old, sitting in the stands with your own supporters, and hear them racially abusing your player. And you're thinking, that's going to be me. Hopefully, in a few years. I'm going to get that as well, you know? So it's tough. It's tough seeing that. But, you know, when you got desire to play, this is something I've been working on since baby. Yeah, from young.
So they ain't going to let no one, you know, destroy it for me because of their ignorance or whatever. It was... But it was tough. There's times that in the game where we would stop watching the game, go downstairs to the dressing room, like some of the black players would go down to the dressing room to stay out of it because it was just getting ridiculous. Yeah, it was bad. It was bad.
Jesus Christ.
I mean...
Go on, mate. No, go on. You.
Because obviously, early on the season, Tammy missed a penalty, and on social media, people were ripping into him racially, and Rashford, Pogba, Lukaku recently as well. So in terms of like social media, how do you think they can deal with that issue? Do you think they're doing enough to
Well, listen, I keep telling everyone racism is never going to go away.
Yeah.
It's never. It's been here from day dot, and it will be here until time's finished. So we have to continually try and educate, and because football's such a big medium to everyone, you know, it's at the forefront, and they've got to try and help with the social media platforms to try and educate. And also be a lot stiffer with the penalties, you know, because, you know, you need to put deterrence in there for these people, because some people, they don't listen. So therefore you need to put deterrence in as well.
100%.
And what would, I mean, after that thing with Tammy happened, did you speak to him, or is that what?
Of course.
Yeah?
Yeah. I personally, I sat down with him. I'm sure Frank did as well. But I personally sat down with him, with a psychologist that we have at the club. We spoke to him. We just said, do you want to talk about it? He said, not really. He goes, I know who I am. I know where I come from. I have a strong family. He goes, I'm good. He goes, but thank you for sitting me down and offering the
it's
thing.
just that process, just even if it's there. And
exactly. Just if you need to talk, if it comes back again, and you know we're here, we can talk to you, and we can go through. I can talk about my experiences and so on and forth, and how you can deal with things. And with the psychologist who I work very closely with, so like for many years, he's really good at just giving people a different way of looking at things.
I think that answers my next question, because I was going to say, what would you say to any young and up and coming players who are facing this abuse and feel there's, what's the point of playing football if I'm just going to get abused week in, week out?
No, they got no excuse. They got no excuse, because it's nothing compared to what we went through. You know, it's nothing. I didn't get the same abuse that the players in the 80s and 60s and 70s got. You know, so every generation, it's getting less and less, and that's because of the education. That's because a lot of us are mixing and working with each other, and we have friendships, and so we understand about each other's cultures and so on and so forth. So there's a lot more education out there. But however, there's always going to be this hanging around. It's always going to be, and everyone, don't fool yourself and think that racism is ever going to be eradicated. It's not. So therefore, we have to keep educating. We have to keep on top of it. Whether it's educating the young professionals that are coming through and saying, okay, if you face this, but it's also going into schools, going into all social areas and educating people to say, look, you know, just showing people different cultures and understanding different cultures, and just shouting, blurting stuff out in a game. There could be someone in row X just behind you, and you're blurting that out, and then you don't realise how you're affecting someone that may not want to come to a stadium ever again just because of you. You know. And then clubs are losing clients or fans or however you want to call it. You know, it affects the whole system. As everyone says, it's a global game. It's not just for one set of people. It's a global game. It's a universal game. So therefore, we've got to all embrace it in all our ways and understand there's different cultures, there's different ways of going about things. But if we were all the same, how boring would that be?
Oh, mate,
exactly.
You know,
mate.
Come on. You know, we've got to accept each other for what we are and try and embrace different things.
100%.
Everyone's got something to bring. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
It doesn't matter.
without doubt. You know, the Premiership wouldn't be what it is without all the different cultures that has come and embraced.
Not at all.
You know,
Yeah.
we've got South Americans, we've got Africans, we've got every culture under the sun here. You know, and that's why it's such a great, unique product.
It's the best league in the world.
Yeah,
Without doubt, you know, and you got the undercore of the English intensity and the power and the strength and everything that we love in our game, but then you got the flair and you got the different things that the other cultures have brought to the game. Exactly.
Yeah.
So if that all went, then it all goes to basic again.
Exactly.
And you wouldn't want to go there.
No, not at all. I mean, I hear I heard that I think in England's next game against Bulgaria away, that he said that he will walk off the pitch.
Yeah.
If he's subject to that again, and I think Southgate said,
Do you support that?
Yeah, listen, at the end of the day, there's all different ways of dealing with it. You know, I felt Sterling the other time when he scored a goal and then like done the signers to the...
Exactly.
That hurts them more, in my opinion. I think walking off, I don't know yet. I don't know. I really can't. I don't know if that's a way of dealing with it. But winning a game, scoring goals, and smiling their face whilst doing it, that hurts.
Killing with kindness, innit?
Yeah.
Killing with kindness.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, that hurts them. You know? And for me, that's always been the best way.
Yeah.
Always been the best way. When I see Johnny Barnes ripping up everybody and putting it in the back of the net, it killed everybody. So I used to just laugh and say, that's the way to go.
Yeah.
That's the way to go.
100%.
And now here you are. You're assistant manager at Chelsea. How does that feel? What a title.
It's great. It's just my club. I've been here since 12 years old. So, you know, to play for the club, to assisted, you know, I've done the loans, loan players as well. And
how was that? How was that job actually?
It's great.
Was it?
Great. Everyone thinks it's not, but it's great. It's great because you work with the players in a different way. It's one-on-one, and they open up to you and they start trusting you more. It's not in a team environment, it's a one-on-one environment. It's more intimate, and they'll open up. Once they start trusting you, they'll open up a little bit and you can work a lot closely with them. And especially when you're working with them over a certain amount of years. They really trust you. They know that you're there for them. You're trying to help them to progress in their careers. And you do it in all sorts of ways. I've had to strip a few back and give them a what for with my mouth because they weren't doing what they were supposed to do. But at the same time, I've always I'll be the first to pat them on the back when they're doing well as well.
Exactly.
And I just want to see them go on and do well in their careers and tell them that it's a hard career, and just because you're talented, it's not enough. It's not enough. It's hard work. Talent's just not enough. That gets you so far.
Exactly.
But you got a gentleman. I'm walking into Juve's training ground. I'm walking into AC Milan's training ground. I'm walking into Liverpool's training ground, and talking to their managers or technical directors and this, that, and the other. Tell me what
Traveling.
Mate, you see the world, innit?
Do you do that?
It's true.
You walk into AC Milan's training ground and like going, wow.
Oh my God.
And then Ruud Gullit comes over and then someone else comes over and you go, so it's obviously we're doing it at a very high level at the club because we're most probably one of the first that took it to this level. And and it's continuing now. With, obviously with Carlo Cudicini, Paolo Ferreira, Makelele, Torre, Andre Flo.
Yeah.
So they're all looking after these players out there because they're massive assets to the club. Whether they come back or they get sold and they go on in their careers, and that's all it is. It's about helping them on their career, on their career path, whether that's with us or with someone else. And that's what it took a while for all them to really understand it, but then when they got it, they understood it, and then now let's start working.
Exactly. What player impressed you most in that whole loan system? Is there one standout player for you that was like he's making it?
Andreas Christensen.
Really?
Wow.
I hear this so much.
Because he went on a 2-year loan to Mönchengladbach. Yeah. And he went in, started okay, and then he had a little blip very early. Then the manager left because they weren't doing so well. And then I thought, could be trouble.
Yeah.
New manager steps in, didn't play for the first couple of games, I don't think, and then he got in for whatever reason. And then in that time we had been talking about what he has to do because he was still playing like an academy player. Yeah. He was trying to pull the ball out of the sky on his chest and play it out, and I'm going, no. This is the Bundesliga, man's game. Yeah. Not going to do that no more. So we started working on what his approach and what he's got to do, and he's got to pick up the flight of the ball where the other striker is, and so on and so forth, all the tactical and technical stuff behind the player and what he has to do. And he takes information on very well, very quickly. And
is that what stood out?
Yeah. And then once he stepped in and started playing like he's been playing at that level for. And we've got a marking system here, and 4 being the highest. Yeah. I've never given a 4 except for him. Wow. Except once. And he played against Barcelona at home in the Champions League, and I was trying to be as critical as possible. I was going to do something. I went, no, I've got to give him a 4.
His performance against your teammate in the final last season, mate.
Here we go.
Rock solid, mate. Rock solid.
Yeah, well, he was.
But we was all saying before that game that that's where the game's going to be. Usually everyone says it's going to be the midfield battle where the game's going to be won or... We said it's going to be Arsenal's forwards against our centre-backs. That's where the game's going to be won or lost. Yeah. Because your front 2 are really quick and like you could do. So David and Andreas knew that they had to engage early. They had to couldn't allow you to turn, couldn't allow you to do all the things that you want to do off the ball, and they were magnificent all night.
About the game.
Yeah.
That was one of our best performances last season.
Yeah, it was outstanding. Because everyone, say Eden and Giroud, and and they deserved the plaudits. Yeah. But for me, the game was won by David. Yeah. And
if I speak, I'm in big trouble.
I'm in big trouble.
I use that all the time.
We love it here.
Good old Jose. Talking of Jose, so obviously you've come in as assistant manager twice. So when Villas-Boas was sacked in 2012 and when Jose was sacked in 2015.
3 times.
3 times.
3 times.
So with Robbie.
Yeah.
With Gus, I think.
Of course. And now. So I've only counted the past 2 times. Yeah. So when the players, so when those managers were sacked and you got that call and you're in training next day, whenever it is. What is the mood of the camp like? How are the players?
I think the worst one was the first one.
Really?
In 2012.
Yeah, that was the worst one. I think there was a slight divide in the dressing room. The environment wasn't cohesive to playing at top level. Yeah. I won't divulge too much into that, but it wasn't how it was supposed to be. So I thought the main job that me, Robbie, and Steve had to do was get amongst the players and start talking to them. And start opening them up to what's the problems, what's your feelings, and because you're talking about top senior players now. You're not talking about young. You're talking about top senior players. So you got to let them open up and let them get things off their chest and what the problems were and what they're not happy with and this, that, and the other. And then you can start building a picture. and say, right, how do we start working with this group? Now we've got this picture. So, and that's whilst you're training, that's why you're preparing for games and all that, and you have to do that. So that was the early part. I saw quite a lot of that work was mainly behind the scenes and doing that stuff.
And then obviously there's a lot of like media scrutiny as well, isn't there? So that is that pressure felt here at Cobham when there is, when the manager has been sacked?
I think you live with the pressure. You understand that. Top, but top clubs. If you're preparing to be a top club, you know what pressure comes with that, and that means you have to win. You lose 2 games, you draw 1, you lose 1. All of a sudden, you're under pressure. And that's for everyone. That's for Real Madrid, Barcelona, Arsenal, Chelsea, everyone, Man United, whoever. So you know what you're walking into. It's a life that you're used to working in. And it's about working through it as well. So if you go into that, the manager gets sacked, and then you have to start working a new process. You have to say, okay, that's done. Okay, some of you may still want him here. Some of you are happy that he's gone or whatever. Don't care. We'll wipe the slate clean. We're going to start talking to you individually, maybe as in groups, as midfield strikers, and we might talk to you in groups and start building up a process of like, this is where we're going now. And everyone has to jump on board because we need to fight, because we need to be up and fighting for Champions League positions, fighting for trophies. We need to get the process going as soon as possible.
What is the role of sports psychologists when is this time where you think, okay, we need to bring these guys in a bit more often?
I think it's the last frontier of football. I think it's still seen as a little bit taboo, a little bit taboo sometimes, as you said at the front end of the show, that men don't really like talking.
Exactly.
So it's still a little bit taboo, but I think more and more I'm seeing that our sort of sports psychologists, the players, I think over there they've been educated in the academy building, so they're more comfortable with it. And I think seniors are now starting to be more comfortable with it, and we've created a more the surroundings, so it's they can go and talk confidentially about what's going on, how they feel, and if the psychologist feels that he needs to pass that information over to us, and not obviously divulge secrets or anything, their personal life or whatever, but if he needs to divulge something to help us, to help the player, and that's a working process, and that'll be a continual working process, because it's not the complete thing at this present moment in time. I think it worked really well on the loans because he used to come with me on the loans. So obviously you have to deal with loneliness. You have to be being away from home, different country, different things. So there's so many different things that you don't think about when they go away on loan that you have to deal with. So I used to bring him with me often, and he would be great at giving them the tools, mental tools, how to deal with different situations, and making them think outside of the box. And it was great. And he thinks he was teaching them, he was teaching me as well. Because I'm sitting there thinking, wow, I'm going to say that to my kid. I'm going to use that one.
So write it down quickly.
Write that one right now. That's quality, that one. So, no, he's fantastic, and the players are buying into him more and more. And again, as the generations change, the mental thinking about and the acception of these things is a little bit more accepted.
100%.
And so therefore it's becoming more and more of a role, a stronger role. And in the next 5 years you will have psychologists traveling with the team everywhere.
Every game, innit?
Everywhere, because you're going into some big games.
Man.
You may be fatigued, tired, you may be having problems at home, but you're expected to play at the top level in this game tomorrow night.
No excuses.
And no one cares about what's happening at home. You're getting paid a lot of money to play and do well. Go and perform. But you got to remember, they're still human beings. Regardless of what they're on and what shirt they're wearing, they're still human beings, and they still have problems. They still have issues, just like everybody else.
No, 100%.
I'm going quickly to cut you. Going back to the whole change of managerial stuff, like how was it when Lampard came in? Like, was that a different feel there? Because obviously club legend, it's Lamps, innit? So
yeah, it's different. I think if you think about it, everyone's I don't know, obviously being an Arsenal fan, you might not know about this.
Here it goes.
Here we go.
I'm outnumbered today, guys.
I need you on the show every week, mate.
You know, you can see how badly the fans want it because you know they put the flags out of all the ex-players that have returned. So Petter, Frank, Jody, myself, Makelele, Paolo, Torre, and they put all our flags out just to show their appreciation that we are from the club, we know the club, you know, and like you got the two Coleys have come back, Ash and Joe. So you know, it's keeping it in the family basically, and I think that's what the fans want. They love because they know they want that continuity. They want that continuity of players understanding the youth coming through, and that connection with the fans, and I think that's the identity that everybody wants. So him coming back in. And even some of the players are saying, you know, it's good, you know, because you know us. I know like half the players in the squad now all been on loan. Wow. So Tammy, Kurt, Mason, Fikayo. You know, if I missed anyone out, but they've all been on loan. So you know, they're ready straight away. The connection and like they'll come to you if they need anything. They'll talk to you because you've built that trust with them already. Yeah, man. You know,
that's sick, man.
I honestly, as a Chelsea fan, I am so like comfortable and happy right now. I mean, I went to the first home game of the season, and that big Frank welcome home banner was up, and I was in Matthew Harding. I had goosebumps. Like I haven't felt like a mood like that in Stamford Bridge in a long time, mate. It felt good. Yeah, it was against Leicester, wasn't it? Yeah, no, it's mate.
It's like you got your club back kind of feeling, isn't it?
Oh, mate.
Well, I think the fans think that. You know, the fans feel like that. That's the feeling I get from people that live around me and talk about, you know, that we're all back in there, and they just say we feel like we've got our club back, and like the club's listening to us and they understand what we want and this, that, and the other. So you know, let's hope that it all works.
Hopefully.
Well, you know my opinions on that one.
Yeah, we do.
I've got a question for you. A big question. Who do you think had more talent, Hazard or Zola?
Whoa!
Put you on the spot with this
wow! One. Oh my god! Franco was a little genius. And I loved him. No, not love. He's top man. And I'm sure a lot of people have said it as well. But he's not just a fantastic footballer, but as a human being, top. But Eden's a different level.
He's a baller, really.
He's a big baller.
Yeah,
big baller.
He's a different level. I just have to. I think I'd give it to Eden. To be honest. Because I think more often than not, he has plucked Chelsea out of trouble individually by himself. And that's why I'll have to give it to him.
Yeah, I mean, last season alone, innit?
Last season alone, there's games, how we won them, I don't know. Yeah. It was just the individual brilliance that he'll just get you out of trouble.
He would just score that goal that would just, like, inspire the team.
Yeah. You know?
How was it watching him in training?
Well, the last 2-3 seasons have been with Italian managers that train a certain way. So it's very tactical. Okay. So you can't really enjoy watching that side of thing because it wasn't possessions, there wasn't a game. Yeah. It was more tactical based and structure and this, that and the other. So the fun element of watching someone training like that way was not there really. Yeah. So it was more about the focusing on.
How does that differ from the English style of training then? So that's Frank's, I guess.
Well, Frank's it's not English. It's called global training. Global training. Okay. So global training is the difference between global and say the Italian, which is compartmental training. Okay. So global training is where you incorporate all the tactics, the physical, everything is all incorporated in a session. Where compartmental training is there's tactical, there's running, there's gym. Yeah. So it's different, segmented. where everything is based, where the way Frank trains is everything's global. Yeah. So it's mainly, don't get me wrong, there's times where he'll just say, no, we're going to work on tactics and this, that and the other. But the main source of training that he's trying to get out is built into the training session.
I love the fact that, I think I saw something on the Chelsea Instagram the other day, that Frank was back late with Mount. And he's staying back late with these players. Is that true? Is that happening?
Not staying back late. He's just staying after training.
it was made.
It was a bit exaggerated.
every I saw on Twitter, everyone was like, "This is amazing." He really cares.
You got to remember what Frank was all about when he was as a footballer. He was about scoring goals. And after training, he would always do shooting. Always. He would either do box-to-box runs because that's part of his games, or he would do shooting, mainly shooting, or he'll take penalties or something that is going to help him in his game. So he's a big advocate of that. So when he sees like Mason or Tammy, or they want to do some shooting, he's there. He's like, because he loves it because that's him. You know, he wants to do it. He wants to be part of that. So you have to let him go and do that part of the training. Let him go and do that because he wants to help the players do what he used to do because he understands it.
I feel like Mount has a lot of the traits that Lampard had.
Yeah, they're very similar players. Very similar going forward. Box-to-box players, go and score goals from midfield, loads of energy. Yeah, there's very similar traits, and I'm sure that's why Frank likes him a lot.
Yeah. So go on, Pete. No.
Touch on the academy players, then, innit?
Oh yeah.
Like it seems like now at Chelsea, there's a core of players that are coming up at the same time. How important do you think it is to have a group of players around the same age coming up at the same time, rather than having a few individuals?
That's a good question. It happened in my time, so. Frank Sinclair, Graham Stewart, Andy Myers, Michael Dubry, myself, David Lee, Jason Cundy, Gareth Hall. We all came through the ranks together. We played in the youth team together, we played in the reserves together, and then we eventually all got into the first team together at various stages. There's Shipley as well that got in, and other players as well that got in as well. Some lasted longer than others, but we all
around the same time.
Around the same time got into the first team structure. So we're having that renaissance again. So Callum, Reece, Mason, Tammy, Andreas.
There's so many.
There's so many. So you've got all these players that are coming through together, and when you're going through, they can support each other. That's the one thing that I remembered. Like we'd all support each other. If anything, like a senior really came down on you, there's almost that thing of oi, oi,
that's my boy.
That's my boy. You want steady. It's like that. That was that kind of feeling because you felt that you had to protect each other. You know, because we all came through together. We've been at the clubs like from 12 onwards coming through, and we've gone through a lot together. So therefore, when you reach the heights of the first team, you're very protective of each other, and I'm sure this group of players will be the same. You can see them talking to each other, laughing with each other, but they mix well with the seniors as well. And I think our seniors are very open to the young players coming in. They had a lot of energy. And it's great for a senior to give them advice and help them through things as well, because there will be tough, sticky times this season because they're young, they're still learning their trade. But as long as they got the support from the staff, the club, the senior players around them, that's how you get through.
Who is that senior player, would you say, now in the Chelsea squad? Who's
they all lend a hand. Tony's very vocal. And he'll put his arm around and he can be a little bit physical with the boys playing. Aspie obviously being the captain will talk and he'll drive. He loves to drive a session as a player. Like in the session, if someone's not doing it, he'll be the first voice. Oli Giroud as well. He's very vocal as well. He drives he drives a session. He's top man, Oli. And even though he's having to take a back seat, he's being very positive. He's helping. He's doing everything that he
that's a real professional, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And he's been outstanding in training, you know, just helping the boys and vocal and pushing himself as well.
Yeah,
you know, he's very proud, and he wants to, he wants to give Tammy as much competition as possible.
Yeah.
And we're going to need everybody this season anyway. So, you know, they know how to maintain themselves, you know.
Yeah, it's showing because Tammy's firing right at the moment, isn't it?
He is.
So happy.
He's firing, man.
He is.
We've got a solid number 9 in Tammy Abraham.
I'll give you that.
Mate, his performance against Wolves
was
incredible.
Striker's goals, isn't it?
Yeah, proper striker goal, yeah. He is an out-and-out striker.
Yeah.
Nothing else. Trust me.
He's a striker.
I think I heard JT say that when you'd see Tammy in training and when he was in the academy and he'd come over to train with the senior players, him and Cahill would be like, not today. Yeah.
He's a nightmare because he's so enthusiastic and he loves scoring goals. The biggest problem is that he commentates through the training session. He just constantly talking. Then you say, Tammy, shut up. Just train. But it's his enthusiasm. He loves it, and he loves scoring goals, and he if he misses 3, he doesn't care. He'll get in there for the 4th time. He won't hide. He's always there. He wants to score goals. He loves being being centre of attraction, and that's what number 9s do. They love to be centre of attraction. So it's perfect.
And he loves Chelsea.
Yeah.
Like he's a Chelsea boy.
He's a Chelsea
boy. Well, come on, they're all been here since 8. You know, they've been here from younger than me. You know, it's from 8, 9, 10. It becomes your home. It's second home, and it's all you know. You know.
Yeah.
And it's not a bad home either. To be fair.
No, it's a good home.
Yeah, Emirates is alright.
So another big question.
Go on.
Who is the greatest player you've worked with not to make it?
Oh wow, that's a good question. Oh wow. There's loads.
Really?
There's loads. You know, it was a different system back in the day. Obviously, you know, you play for your school, play for your district, you play for your county, and then you play for Chelsea or whatever club you play for. So I played with a lot of good players. I mean, my West London team was outstanding. Really? I mean, we had unbelievable talent in our dressing room. I mean, we blew everybody away. I mean, we blew everyone away. But it's the discipline where I said talent's not enough.
Yeah.
Because I've seen so much talent fall away. And it's the desire, the hard work to overcome adversity, because you will have problems, whether it be injury or something else. You have to overcome that and go again. And you've got to keep on going. And that's what makes you get to the top, you know. And but I couldn't give you a name, but wow, there's so many talented players that have just gone to the wayside, either nightclubbing and girls have got in the way, or something else has got in the way, money or, you know.
Who was the biggest party animal?
Who are you trying to throw people on the bus?
you want me to get in real trouble here?
It is the Bevs the Ballers. So.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
There's a few. There's a few. I know. Again, we all used to get. I know it's a social thing, isn't it? You win a game and you all go together and you go out and you enjoy yourself. And I think, you know, no, I'm not saying anything.
So I'm gonna play you a clip.
Okay.
You can't see it. He's gonna hear it.
Okay.
Can you tell me what was going through your head at this moment?
Okay.
From Chelsea. Xavi's there to win it back though. There's a good shout for a handball. Is it? Cleared it.
Fernando Torres.
This could be the most dramatic story of the season. It's Torres against Chelsea. A place in the Champions League final. The headline has been written.
Gary never makes this, does he?
Listen, Gary's not living that noise down.
So what was going through your head, Eddie?
It's quite funny what was happening at that time. We had just given the ball away.
Yeah.
And so they're right in our box, and Nando's just watching. So we're screaming from the sideline, Nando, get back, get back. And then Ash is booting the ball, and I looked and I went, oh, no. And so Nando's onto it, and then like I'm walking down the sideline, like, oh my God. And then he went round, and I went, oh, and then he's pointing the back of the net, and then all I got is a massive thud from behind because Robbie jumped on my back, and I went, oh. I was like, and then we just started jumping. That was it. We knew that was it. That was it. Couldn't believe it. Couldn't believe it.
Because, I mean, mate, honestly, that is one of the best moments of my life.
What a game.
Can you imagine? I was listening to that on the radio. I didn't have Sky Sports. Oh, no, mate, I was literally listening to it on the radio. Heard Messi miss a bloody penalty, and I was like, it's our night. This is our night.
No, we felt that. We felt that, like, when we was in the hotel before the game, like, so, you know, different guests were coming in and saying, they're going, hey, there's a mood around Barca. They're worried. I went, yeah, whatever. And then it goes, no, there's a real feeling that, you know, the games between Chelsea and Barca over the years have been really close, and they had a feeling. The City was a little bit worried, you know. It wasn't that real confident swagger of a Barca. Wow. So we was like, well, okay. So we go to the stadium, obviously, as usual, and then JT gets sent off, and we go, oh, okay, here we go. The Alamo, you know, it's just going to be the Alamo now. So, and then
Cahill injury as well.
Cahill injury. No. And then Lamps puts that ball in for...
What a ball that was.
Oh, my God.
Forget the ball. What about the goal?
No, the composure, yeah. Listen, you lot had me... I'm an Arsenal fan. I was fist pumping. I was like, right.
Mate, Ramires.
Cut that out, by the way.
Ramires.
Wow. I screamed like it. You see Nev? Did you see Nev?
Yeah,
like, that was me. When he done that, I went, oh my, is that Remy? It was unbelievable. What a finish.
That was a Brazilian finish, wasn't it?
What a finish.
Had so much sauce on that finish.
Sauce. And the thing is, it came, 45th minute, innit?
Like, yeah. Just before half time.
What were you saying in the dressing room?
The dressing room talk was a lot different. We was all prepared for one way. We go, no, let's go a different way now. It's a little bit more positive now. So it's amazing, though. Like, you know, so many little factors in the game changed the way the game went. You know, all of a sudden the momentum was with them. JT being sent off, the injury to Cahill. We're just strapping people up and putting them on the pitch, and then we go and score a goal just before half time, and you're thinking, wow, is there anything else that can happen in this game? You know?
And then Messi misses a penalty.
And then you go the other end.
What were you thinking when Didier made that challenge?
When he made that challenge, I go, what are you doing there?
Striker's challenge.
Just stay up the field.
I was like, no one asked me to be there, Didier, innit?
Nah, listen, Didier was trying to put a shift in for the team. We're struggling. He knew what you can't stay up there. We're fighting to stay in the game, and tried to do what he tried to do, and it was typical striker's tackle. But he got away with it, and and we ended up winning the game. And
unbelievable.
It was, I mean, I don't know if I could go through a game like that again. My heart rate was going through the roof, then it was coming down, then I was in... I mean, the levels you go up and down in the game, and then you still have to focus on what you're doing, you know, who's coming on, and all the different bits and pieces that you have to do from the sidelines.
I mean, one of the commentators said, and I quoted him, there's a football god up there, and he's smiling on Chelsea.
Oh yeah, without doubt.
Yeah,
without doubt.
And I think back to that loss at Napoli, and then that home leg as well. Yeah. How important that was.
Oh, I mean, every game.
Mate, I couldn't believe
every single game. Like the Napoli game. I've got another funny story. You know, we went into extra time.
Yeah.
So we went into extra time, and I was speaking to Didier and Branny.
Yeah.
And Branny's a warrior.
Yeah, Serbian warrior.
Yeah, he's a proper warrior. And just before they was walking back on the pitch, he started going, it's time for war. It's war. We have to go. It's war. And I looked at Didier and I went, Didier, you need to talk to him. We need every man on the pitch. We don't need him getting sent off. Calm him down, please.
He was pumped up.
But he went and scored the goal. He's going and scored the goal. So, you know, I mean, the ride on the Champions League was amazing. I mean, the levels that you had to go to. Yeah. Went to Benfica away, another difficult game. And then Paulo hadn't played for 3 months. And he played 85, just about 80. He got into the 80s. I don't know when, but he got into 85s and was cramping up and everything. He hadn't played for 3 months. and he put in an outstanding performance.
He was incredible.
He put an unbelievable performance, and like he kept on going, Paolo, come on. He goes, no, I'm okay. 5 minutes. He goes, no, Paolo, come on.
I think we can't hear this. We can't hear this. Can you imagine?
Listen,
Are you all right, Paolo? Yeah, I'm fine. Then he goes down with cramp, and you're trying to warm someone else up, and he's going, no, I'm okay.
I know what we need. In the F1, you have team radio. We need the fucking.
Oh, can you imagine? I think the language would be terrible.
there'll be a lot of bleeps in it.
There would be a lot of bleeps.
And then, I think was it Moreles scored as well in the. That was another big goal.
That was another big goal when he smashed it top corner.
yeah,
What a goal!
Oh my
Yeah.
god.
So but you had big players
Yeah.
that could handle the stage. They could handle the stage. You got Mata, you got Ramires, you got big Didier, Peta, Frank, JT, Cahill, Branislav. Big players that have been there, they've seen it, they've done it.
that,
They know what they have to do to help themselves, and they know how to talk to each other. They know how to rip each other, and they respect each other to take it as well. And that's something that takes time to build. And they had been working together for a long time.
I think that
I forgot Ash. Sorry for cutting.
He'll watch this thing.
He's working here, and I don't want to get hammered. So
He's round the corner. Come round the corner.
You're right. What was I going to say? I mean, Chelsea had such a good spine, didn't they?
I was about to say the same thing.
Through
Yeah.
middle of the park. Was
that a crowning moment for them, for that spine? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
For Cech, Terry, Lamps, Didier. Do you know what I'm saying? That spine.
Yeah, the spine is important to any squad.
Yeah.
When you got seniority down the spine that have seen it, done it, you can guide the rest of the team. And with the experience that spine had, was paramount to winning the Champions League.
Yeah.
Without a shadow of a doubt, because they never panicked at any time. They all believed in themselves. They've been there, they've seen it, they know what they've got to do, and they know how to dig out a result as well. Sometimes it's ugly. Sometimes it's ugly.
A lot of 1-0s.
What you lot don't know how to do.
I'm gonna have to call some friends in here.
You guys bottled it, mate. Last weekend, you guys bottled it.
That's for another podcast, isn't it? Can't even get into that one.
So but they knew how to dig out a result, and they knew. The great thing about that team is that they knew how to, when they could play, they could play.
Yeah.
When they needed a fight, they will get together and have a fight. Yeah. If you wanted to go tactical, we can go tactical. They could flip to any one of those, and that's why they won leagues, they won cups, they won, and that is why.
Yeah. Arguably, probably the greatest spine.
Arguably.
Modern day football.
Yeah. The one that stayed together for nearly 8 to 10 seasons. That's very hard to do.
Yeah. Huge.
That is very hard to do, to keep that level of player at one club for that level of time.
Because Didier even came back, didn't he?
Yeah.
Man, I love Didier.
He loved scoring against us, innit?
Mate, and United.
Big
as well.
He's a big game player.
He's a big game player.
Big game player.
I mean, you could just see him in the change room just change when a big game come on, semi-final or final, or it's a big league game against Arsenal or Liverpool or Man United. The change you could see. You could just see it.
It's a different breed. You've got to be a different breed, haven't you?
Yeah. You're born that way.
Yeah.
You're born that way. You're not made. No. You're born that way.
Oh, that's a good quote. So I'm going to go to my favourite segment. That night in Munich. That night in Munich,
man.
What was the feeling amongst the camp? Because obviously there's a lot of injuries, a lot of players out. I think Bertrand was starting, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Panic. That's what it was.
Really?
No, it wasn't panic. It was a lot of hard work behind the scenes, a lot of thinking how we're going to overcome all the injuries that we're going to have to overcome. Do we change our formation? What do we do? Then the partnership about putting Bertrand in the advanced position. They both could cover and do the same thing. Him and Ash could work, in totem together. Yeah. So there was a lot of thinking, a lot of work. We was doing 12-hour days. Wow. Easily was coming in at 8 and leaving at 8. So it was a lot of work behind planning, because you're planning for league games, you're planning for Champions League games, you're planning for FA Cup games.
I think there's a Liverpool game we had before.
Yeah. So you're planning for all these 3 competitions, and you've got to stay in them. because we didn't know, because we had to stay in the league because we needed Champions League for next season. So we had to keep pushing in the league. We couldn't come off there and rest players.
Exactly.
So we had to keep going in there. The FA Cup, we had to keep pushing because it's a trophy. We need to win a trophy. Champions League, of course you're going to push in that. You're going to do everything in that. So there was not one place where we could say, oh, we'll rest you and like put you in. And you couldn't do that. You had to just keep patching everybody up and going, here we go again. So going back to the night, we're talking about you're talking about players warming up in the change room, Toddy Kane, Nathaniel Cholobah warming up in the change rooms because we didn't know if David or Gary were going to make it through the warm-up. Forget about the game. We didn't know they were going to make it through the warm-up. So we had people warming up in the changing room just in case they didn't make it through the warm-up. That's how close we were.
Yeah.
That's how on the edge we were, and people don't realise this, that we had people warming up in the change room to go on our bench and then the players on the bench go on the pitch just in case.
How much did you sleep that literally the night before?
I always sleep well.
I would have been up all night. I would have been up all night. So the game starts and it's pretty much up until 80 minutes. It's like back and forth, whatever, and then Müller gets that goal. It's over. What are you thinking? What's the mood?
You just think, it's been a great run. You think, to be fair, to get to the final, we've just had a great run. It's been a great experience. And you're in their backyard as well, aren't you?
And
you're thinking, it could be. But, saying that, Petter was saying, like, as we was pulling up to the stadium, he goes, it's good omens, because it was all blue outside. It was all blue. Now, like, going back to the Russian one, playing Man United, it was all red. It was all red on the outside.
And John Terry will not see red in the changing room. He won't have it.
So there was all red everywhere and everything. And I remember Petter saying on the coach, it's a better omen than last time. Look, outside the stadium, it was all lit up in blue. I was going, I'll take that.
Well, you grab on anything in it.
You grab onto everything, I'll take that.
Yeah.
I'm not superstitious, but I'll grab that. So, mad. So, you're going into the thing and everyone's warming up. And I remember, I could see, Malouda and Sturridge and all that. They was just in the warm-up looking around. So grabbing them and say, come on, let's move the ball around and doing things with them as well and getting everybody, psyched and ready and doing what you can, basically. Yeah. And then the game starts, as you said, 80 minutes. It's, it could have gone either way. They could have got a couple goals. We lived dangerously as we had been doing through the whole tournament. And then, as you know, at the last stages, Didier comes up with that header.
Big goal, man.
I mean, I still look at that goal now. He's so far in front of the first post. Yeah. For him to turn it and get that power.
And he was over Frank, wasn't he? He was jumping over Frank. He got
in front of Frank.
He got in front of Frank.
I think he pushed it. I think he put his hand in his face and said, "Get out of the way." But he got in front of Frank and he just rose above everyone and the power he generated to get. And I mean, that is such a hard thing to do. Yeah. I think the emotion, the stage of the game and everything, he just generated unbelievable. And we're not talking about a bad goalkeeper here, by the way.
No.
Mate.
Well, it was probably the best in the world.
Yeah. So you're talking about a special goal, and then obviously he gets to the penalties, and that's when it's like nerve wrangling.
Yeah. I think Chelsea on penalties always makes you nervous. Mate. I think it's Chelsea on penalties. I'm like, no.
Yeah.
Every time.
But I've got to say, in that game, there's two things that I didn't think got really talked about enough. One was Mikel's performance.
Really?
I thought he was man of the match by an absolute street from our point of view.
Yeah.
Because he was cleaning up so much, unbelievably. Off the ball, winning, stopping transitions, being the first person to break things down, keep the ball and keep us ticking over. He was unbelievable on the night, and he didn't get enough credit that he deserved on the night. It was outstanding.
Wow, mate, Mikel,
John Ovi.
and then Ash's penalty.
Oh my!
Oh.
Went to the right, didn't
Oh
it? Just
my God.
whipped it.
When he hit it,
Whipped
I was like that. Oh, that's gone. And he went, oh my God, what a penalty that is. It was unbelievable.
Whipped it.
By the way, all our penalties were out. But
Franks was a captain's pen.
Yeah.
Captain's pen. You ain't saving that.
Ah.
And Luis as well. I thought he's ballooning this.
No, I knew. No.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I knew. Yeah, he's
Makes
got
me nervous. Always made me nervous.
the run up that kills you.
The run up in it.
Yeah.
Oh, from distance, innit? He's way back.
But there's certain players that you go, I know he's going to score. Like Frank, you're very confident. You know they can miss, but you're very confident that they're going to score.
Because Mata missed the first, I think.
Yeah. And then, but then when Ash stepped up, as much as I love him, I was like, I don't know. And then he put it away, but the way he put it away, I was like, oh wow!
It's just a surprise, you, innit?
What a penalty!
Yeah,
what a penalty!
Yeah.
And,
Wait, did you not know who was taking the pens?
No, yeah, we do. Yeah,
Okay,
before the game, we're not doing 8 to 8 for nothing.
Yeah.
So no, we knew, and obviously there may be some adjustments every so often because people will come off, and so you have to rechange. And who wants to go number 1? Who wants to go number 5? Because they're the two ones that some people don't want to really take.
And
was
it
Drogba
was number 5?
Yeah. They're the ones that you don't really want to take. And that's going back to the Super Cup. You know, Tammy was brave to take the number 5 penalty.
Exactly.
It's not many people want to take that because that's the one that
the money goal.
Yeah, exactly. You know, so it takes a brave person to step up and do that one.
And Petr Cech.
Yeah, man.
Outstanding.
He dived the right way every single pen.
Again, that's why we're 8 to 8 because Christoph Lolichon, who's the goalkeeper coach, then worked on every single person's penalty, their style, how they do it, what if they have a twitch as they're stepping up and what that means, and you know, all these kind of different things. You know, so the amount of work that went into everything to get the level of detail. It's not just luck. It's the work that goes behind the scenes, the talent of the players, the experience of the players, everything coming together at the right time. It just comes together at the right time.
And then, I mean, when Schweinsteiger missed that pen, I thought, this is it. I thought, this is ours now. If Schweinsteiger missed it, I said, the day that happens, that's it. We're winning it. We're winning it.
I can't remember there's a small player, I forgot his name. He was walking up and me and JT looked at each other and went, he's going to miss.
He's going to miss.
He's going to miss. Just by looking at him walking up, the way his body language, everything. And we just looked at each other. Like JT was next to me. I looked at him and he looked at me and he went, you thinking what I'm thinking? I'm thinking, I think I am. I think I am. I think he's going to miss. What do you think? He went, yeah, I'm thinking the same thing. And then you hold each other a little bit tighter and then like he missed and like me and Tony, come on.
Oh, man.
So, what a special night. Special night.
Yeah.
What I think Cech, like he went straight to doping straight after, didn't he? He couldn't even celebrate. It was like, mate, you're going to doping.
No,
he was that good. He went to doping.
Yeah.
I tell you a special thing. Like I went up to hug him. Like he was on the floor. Like and he was like breathing. I'm going, what are you breathing so heavy for? You're he's standing in the middle of the goal. What are you breathing so heavy for? And he just looked up at me. He went, I couldn't do a minute. I couldn't do a second more. He said, I couldn't do a second more. I'm exhausted. He goes, I'm mentally exhausted. I'm finished. I'm absolutely finished because the amount of concentration, because, you know, you're out of the game for a long spell and you have to stay mentally in it because it's that one time that you need to pull off that save. He said, it goes, if we had to do one more minute, I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. He goes, I'm drained. I'm totally finished. And I just went, well, you don't have to do another minute.
We're done now.
We're done.
We're done in the bag.
We're done.
Oh, man.
So
he's done it.
Like, what a special night, and something that, you know, want to talk to the grandchildren about.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, that is the one thing we have over all the other London clubs.
You know what? Yeah, it's funny because I always used to say, "Oh, Chelsea ain't got nothing on Arsenal, you know, nothing." When you want that chance, I was like, "All right, they might do still."
To this day, only team in London, the European Cup.
Listen, deserved it though, man.
Yeah, that campaign was outstanding. You know what? I don't know. You can tell me better. But I felt there was a real, okay, we hate you, but actually, this run is actually
Listen.
we're getting on board with you because you're an English club. Come on, let's have it. You know,
when Didier scored, I was like, okay, my hate's gone now. You know, I'm like, come on, Chelsea. You know what I'm saying? Just like, you got to win now. Like, the penalty when it went in, that fist pumped.
Yeah.
Fist pumped, man. Hug my dad.
It goes beyond, doesn't it? You all of a sudden, because you can relate. Wow, you hate them for most of the time, but actually you can relate because this guy plays in our league. Yeah. This is Chelsea that plays in our league. You know, actually they're representing our league. You know what I mean?
It's like that Aguero goal, isn't it? I lost it. I'm not, do you know what I mean? This is what we're talking about. You go mental.
I was ironing. I threw the iron, bruv. I was gassed.
Wait. What were you doing ironing watching football?
Listen, it was a weird day. It was a weird day. No, listen, but that's the thing. That's what you love about football, innit?
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't matter how much you hate a team or whatever. Well, apart from Spurs,
moments are moments.
Yeah.
Moments are moments.
Yeah.
But like the moments are big, man.
Although I think if it was Spurs, I'm not sure if I still would.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Well, was Spurs the only exception?
Yeah. When I saw Man City Spurs last season, I was like, oh no. My heart dropped on it.
Listen, I was sweating. I was like, if they win the Champions League, oh no.
Mate,
listen.
I always said it wasn't meant to happen in this universe. It wasn't meant to happen, bro.
It was a good campaign, to be fair to them. They were good. They deserved to get to the final. All joking aside, but I did well. I did drop though.
Thinking, it can't be happening.
I mean, talking of that, what are your thoughts on VAR? Because obviously VAR won Spurs that final, didn't it? Well, not the final, but to get to the final.
Look, I think VAR's still got a few seasons to go before it gets perfected. There's going to be hiccups along the way. It's guaranteed. It's not going to be perfect. And we've got to accept it. It's part of modern technology. And everyone's been managers, coaches, players, pundits. Everyone's been complaining for years about, certain things and people getting away with things and this, that and the other. So this is the way to go forward, and we've got to embrace it, and we've got to learn to work with it and improve it and help the people that are working with it if we see something that should be changed, we've got to make sure fans can say something with all the the platforms that you've got.
Exactly. We got all the angles.
Exactly. You all got all platforms to say something. So it's all of us to help the fans, the media, social media, the staff, people that work in the bodies, the FA and everything, the bodies that look after football, FIFA, UEFA. And try, I don't like when you go into Europe and they see it in a different way, and you come into the English league and then you see it a different way. It's got to be consistent. It's got to be consistent across the board. Because it's difficult to adapt. You're playing at a very high level. There's a lot of emotion involved, and then you got to adapt to a different way because FIFA say one thing and then the English FA say another thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Everyone should be uniformed across the line, and that's how it should be. VAR works like this for everybody.
Because like in the Prem, I've noticed that the referees haven't really been going up to check the monitor. But in the Champs, I've seen it already a few times they've gone to check. Even yesterday, Gareth Bale's goal. They went to go check for the handball. So I don't know why there's a bit of discrepancy there.
And for our pen against Valencia as well.
Yeah. But I suppose I think what most people just want is that clarity, a little bit of, as we say, uniform right across the board. Then it stops all the well, that happened there, why is this happening here? And and then the arguments start happening, and that's what we want to get away from, because that then takes it away from the football. And that's what we don't want. We don't want VAR to overtake the topics of like someone putting something in the top goal, top corner, or doing a great piece of skill or great defending or great save that we love talking about. We love going to the game to watch, and we don't want to. Okay, it's a great topic to speak about at the moment because it's fresh, it's there, and it's topic. But we don't want that to be the overriding factor when we're speaking about games.
Sure. No, it's big facts. Big facts. Right, I think this is the time to go to the audio only. So thank you guys for watching. If you want to hear the next 10-15 minutes, then head over to Spotify and iTunes, and you can hear the rest of this podcast.
See you there.
Who's got the worst fashion sense?
Oh man, there's a few dodgy dresses, I've got to say. I say not dodgy, but loud, very loud.